Max One-on-One.
Hello, everybody. This is another episode of Max One-on-One. I'm here with this guy, the guy who broke Madonna's heart. And after that, she wrote like a virgin.
Oh, that's bad. That's really bad.
No, I'm just making that up. But you dated Madonna. You dated Madonna back in the 80s, right?
Yes, I did. Yeah, for a moment there. It was fun.
See, that means that Madonna was like, at that moment, she was starting her career. She was a dancer in clubs, singing, and you guys were dating, right? But you both were starting, like nobody knew who.
Well,
you
no,
were
the
at that moment.
plasmatics.
It's
were very big at that
Plasmatics,
time.
yeah.
So it was the opposite. The plasmatics were really big at that time.
Yeah.
And she was starting her career, and that's how we met actually. So and then I just left the plasmatics. I just left the Plasmatics when I left her, actually. But the Plasmatics had just been,
they were big. They were huge.
But she was just starting with, I think Borderline and these kind of songs. But she was talented back then, She had it. She had something.
And right, I mean, not right after you guys split, right? Because you just were dating, like, not a big...
not a big... No.
You continued the friendship, and I should tell you, hey, I wrote like a virgin. That's
funny. You want to know the truth? This is what really happened, okay? So the funny thing is, I think we might have been discussing, dance music versus, punk music. Yeah. And I was being silly and egotistical. I think I said something like, are you kidding me? Dance music? It's not like, what we're doing. That's never going to go anywhere. Something like that. I might have, something like that. And then, so I think it was kind of a little dig. So all of a sudden, a while later, she calls back. She says, "John, by the way, my Like a Virgin's #1." Which was like, maybe, would you want to come play guitar with me? So that was like, that's when you put foot in your mouth, if you know what I'm saying.
Myron the Florin, eat your heart out. Here are the Plasmatics. A 1 and a 2.
Okay, America, turn up your TV set.
Ready? 1, 2, 15,
let's talk about the Plasmatics, because what I found in the book is that at the very beginning, chapter 3, you talk about the Plasmatic, and then during the other chapters, when you talk about music, it's like you compare a little bit. Oh, I was playing with Little Steven's bandstand, and the bass in that record that I had to play, it wasn't that complicated. So then I realized in the Plasmatic, the bass that I was playing was complex, right? So tell me about the Plasmatics.
Well, I've always felt that in general, and I've always respected all the different types of music, because each one takes a certain talent to make things happen. Punk rock, maybe the guitar players aren't like virtuosos in the same way, but they have certain skills, like how fast they can play, how fast they can, and a feeling, like to make any of the songs we recorded or a lot of their punk songs, and I Want to Be Sedated, all of that. Those guitar parts, they're playing like all downstrokes, but there's no actual rhyme or reason to it. It's not like it's like let's say a metal guitarist or something else. So when you try to get a great metal guitarist virtuoso to try to play punk, he can't do it. You know what I mean? Because it's too set in those ways. And we try to tell him, well, it's just a flow, it's just a feeling. Like, well, what do you mean? And that's what I found back then, that it was really different between the different types of music. The Plasmatics, I had already played with Gary Gaspard, Chuck Berry, all these different people. So I already had a bit of a soul background, plus I started bass, playing to Eric Clapton, Kiss, and, all these different bands that rock, bass with the pick, and then I'd go to Motown. So putting all those things together, when I got to the Plasmatics, that doesn't go away. The only difference is you're playing everything 10 times faster.
And then why you decided to pursue your solo career? Because it's like, when you were a kid, let me get you there to the very beginning of the book. When you were a kid, like you had, like the gift. There's chapter the gift, right? But like you knew where you're going. You have something in mind. You visualize that light at the end of a tunnel, and you won't stop until you get there.
That's right.
So how was that? Prince, the Prince managers came to you with with a deal, with a contract, with a salary, and you say no, and probably other bands the same thing. Gene Simmons coming to you. So what happened to your mind at that moment that you say no? I want my solo career.
I always wanted it from the beginning. I just felt that there were maybe some things I had to go through to get there. So, I mean, from the very beginning, when I started in junior high school, I was writing songs. I was the lead singer. Even as a drummer, I was the lead singer drummer. So that's what I wanted to do from the very beginning. But then, I ended up joining that punk band as a lead singer. Mm-hmm. But I saw the opportunity for the Plasmatics. I thought it was cool. I just thought, wow, this is really cool. There's probably a lot for me to, learn from this. This is just a different world. I want to get in that world. I don't care if I'm playing bass, I'm playing bass. So I joined that world, and it was a band, so it still made me feel, that I was still I wasn't a backup musician for someone, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then as time went on, that yearning to be a solo artist just got stronger and stronger. And to the point where I left the Plasmatics. And after that, I was really determined. And I said, that's it. I'm not playing with anybody. I'm done. I want to be a solo artist. I don't want to waste time doing.
And when you were in your solo career, what do you feel that you were missing? MTV, for example, MTV only playing white American music. And, kind of you guys, dig the path for the rest of other, African Americans.
But I think, I think that's just the way life works. It's just some people have to go ahead and have to try to pave. It's not everybody has the same, the thick skin to do it. And some people just don't want to do it. And some people, it's not everybody. If everybody was somebody that's supposed to pave the ways, there'd be nobody to pave the ways for.
Yeah.
So it's something that I feel that you have to do. And I started it at an early age. And then when I joined the Plasmatics, that was really a great vehicle for that because the band was so outrageous. Wendy already paved ways she was paving way for women and people who, just kind of felt wretched and felt like like outcasts, but I think the whole band did that. But Wendy's role in that. Richie even dressing up in what he wore and nurses outfits and this. And, I swear. So there were a lot of transvestites, gays, all kinds of people who related to him, if you know what I mean. And I was a black guy with a blonde mohawk. And so all the black, when I first played with the Plasmatics, there wasn't not even one black person in the audience. And as time went on, you'd see, oh, wow, there's 10, there's 15, there's 30. And then you saw all of a sudden a lot of blacks who love rock started to feel comfortable because they felt that they had someone there representing them where they could go and they wouldn't walk in and feel like, oh God, what are you doing here? You know what I mean? Yeah. And so I think, all of us, I think in a way paved that road and opened doors, and then.
Yeah, no, you're right. The gay community, like in the 80s, they were like, in Argentina, if you were gay, they beat you up, man.
That's right. That's right.
Everywhere. So that's what you mean. You guys opened doors for a lot of communities, that were, hidden or they were rejected by society. So how cool is that?
I think so. I think it's very cool, and I think it's very cool, and it's funny to see. Like I'll stand here and think back of when I first had my blonde mohawk, and I'd have blacks on the street telling me, you can't wear that, wanting to fight and telling me, oh, you can't have that. You're going against the roots of the black people. This was the color of the hair of our captors. I mean, I heard every story you could think of. And I'm saying, I'm just doing what I feel like doing. Why can't I have blonde hair? Why can't you have red hair? I see that white guy's got an afro.
And now,
and now I see, basketball teams, my kids' basketball teams all have blonde mohawks, and I'm seeing football, soccer. So I sit there and go, well, I'm glad things change. And, and it happens slowly. It's like we do one thing, then all of a sudden 10 artists see the Plasmatics, and then they do it. and then that reaches another 100, and
Yeah.
it just spreads.
Tell me,
You know?
how did you happen to open a market there? Because not everybody can be successful in Europe or in those bands.
Well, at the very beginning, I actually spent more time, even though I was first signed, by Richard Branson in London to release the record in Europe.
Yes.
I had already been spending a lot of time in Sweden, even going back to when I played with Stephen. And, Plasmatics were not as big in Europe as they were in the US, as far as that goes. But so it was, for one thing, when I got signed over there, I spent a lot of time over there. And I think that's what made the whole thing happen. Finally, I got a deal with Columbia, so I came back to America. But at the time, things were, like I said, things were difficult. You couldn't get on the radio. There were still racial issues. There were all kinds of problems going on. And I just felt, I didn't feel welcome, if you want to know the truth. And even though you were with Columbia, you still felt radio didn't want to play because of that and listen. And then we're in Europe, everybody was open arms and this and thought you were the greatest thing. So I was like, a lot of artists who chose to spend time in Europe first because they were just more welcome there. It goes back to jazz, it goes Quincy Jones, Jimi Hendrix, a lot of, black artists, whether it be, rock or jazz or anything else for that matter. Just because at the beginning, a lot of people just felt more welcome there. My manager felt that, London is going to eat you up. You should go there first. But America was pretty responsive. The people, but the industry was not quite ready for, a black guy playing rock and mixing things. They just, it was a problem.
Also, not only in Europe, because you have some connections with France, right? Because of your parents, correct?
Yes, yeah.
And also, you always, to me, you have some sort of diplomacy when you talk to people, because your parents both they come from politicians, so you come from like high level educated background.
France was a big deal because I think they really liked the fact of the French name. Because my name, Jean Beauvoir, was the name of pretty much the biggest author ever from France, Simone de Beauvoir.
Yeah.
And she's well renowned. So whatever, that's a coincidence, whether there's, some kind of ancestry, I'm not sure, but that helped. And I think that, France doesn't have a lot of success with things outside of France.
Good. So let me take you now to Paul Stanley, because that you dedicate one chapter to Kiss, but the thing that grabbed my attention is what Paul Stanley, you say that he was kind of a mentor in terms of he taught you about the business.
It was a combination, but yes. First I met Stephen, which was the beginning of changing from the Plasmatics kind of vibe to working with somebody who kept you involved in everything that you're doing. But then when I met Paul, it was a different place even. It was just, he really, we were friends first. We hadn't played any music together. We were just friends, and they'd take me to, sometimes be going up to the office, going to rehearsals, the way studio to record things. And it was interesting to watch another artist, especially an artist that you had so much respect for and idolized, from childhood, to actually see the blow by blow of how they live a life of a rock star. Because it's not something you're just born with, that you just know how to do. You know what I mean? Really, believe it or not, each and every, celebrity lives their life a little differently. Stephen, you never see Stephen in limousines, for example. At the time, Paul was like some others will be in limousines all the time. Some, do this, some do that. And it's interesting to just see it. And Paul was a great influence.
Great influence.
It was very interesting.
You still remain friends through the years, and you happen to go to his 70th birthday, right? So the party.
Yeah,
so
I did.
Well,
we've been pretty honest with each other, especially, as we've gotten older, so we do talk. I mean, it was probably not more than a couple of weeks. We communicated a few days ago. So we still are in touch quite a bit, and maybe even more so as time goes on.
Nice.
You start to get older, and you each are doing. You have the music life, but you have your own life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Families, kids. There's a million other things to talk about. That is not only related to
music,
and it changes over the years.
So now you make this book that is very successful, that you can buy in Amazon, any platform that sells audiobook? Not yet, right? Audiobook not yet.
Yeah, audiobook is coming. It's coming.
Awesome.
coming
So
soon.
yeah, you can get this book in any form. And again, to me, this is a great message, even more than music, because not even a person that likes music can read this. Anybody can read it, because the message, of commitment, discipline, devotion, power, to get
Thank you. That's
you
great.
know,
That's wonderful. That you got that out of it, because it's
yeah,
supposed to be an educational book that gives whoever young kids that want to get into this or do anything in life. Hopefully, it's
exactly.
great for them to see a story that had ups, downs, middle, everything else. It's
Yeah.
always great to have other things to refer to.
What's next in your career? Anything or still with the book or
I
some
just finished
music?
a duet with a
Okay.
German group called Lustfinger. I think it's great. The ballad it's a ballad. It's that they're one of the best known punk bands in Germany. It's their 40th anniversary. So we
Wow.
did a duet together, and I also did a new version of Bonzo Goes to Vicksburg, My Brain is Hanging Upside Down, that
Wow.
they played and I sang. So those will both be on their new album. I've got a few other things that I've got up my sleeve. With Lordy, I have a couple of songs on their new records. One of them is something Paul and I wrote, and
Yes.
then another track. So that's on the great Lordy, the latest Lordy album, which has 7 albums
Yes.
released at the same time. So you know all
Yeah.
about
What?
Like a Bee to the Honey.
I love that song. And
Oh, thank you.
you heard it for the first time from Lordy, correct?
No, it was my song. Paul and I
Yeah.
had written the song,
Yes.
and they were looking for a song for their album as a single, and then they picked that song. So and
But
it's
you
again
wrote
on the
it.
album.
You
Yeah,
wrote
Paul
it,
and I wrote it.
but never recorded it. So you heard the song alive for came
Yeah,
to life.
gotcha. Yes. It did well. They did a nice
Awesome.
job with it.
Any
Well,
message to the fans? I'm sorry.
yes, keep your ears and eyes open. I'm working on some new music as well. Just working on some new deals right now for more touring and for just doing more. So I have some plans to get busier as time goes on here. So
Awesome.
keep your ears
Awesome.
and eyes open. And buy the book.
Amazing.
Enjoy it.
Yeah. Thank you so much, brother. I really appreciate
Thank you,
your
Max.
time.
Always good to talk to you.